Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the first Nemotron Labs live stream of 2026. Thank you for joining us on another Tuesday. 52 streams this year. First one about to get underway. We are joined by an excellent guest. You may recognize their name from the keynote at CS yesterday. CodeRabbit Hasit is with us. Hasit, even before we start talking about who you are and what you do, let's just see, what is CodeRabbit? What does it do? How can people expect to use it? Take us into a demo of some sort.
Nice. Thank you for the warm welcome, Chris. Let's dive right in. So CodeRabbit is, as you all know, it's a code review tool, a lot more than a code review tool. It integrates with your Git platform, be it GitHub, GitLab, and other Git platforms. And we work natively. As soon as you open your pull request, we get that event, we start acting on it, we start working on it, we start reviewing it. We take in signals from a lot of places, and then we summarize your code. We write a nice walkthrough. It's a technical summary of your changes, and then we review your code. So we leave comments on your pull request, just like a fellow human reviewer would. So let me share my screen. We can go through some open source pull requests. And
these are open source pull requests, I think, in the NVIDIA org. Is that right?
Yes. So these are all pull requests in the NVIDIA open source org. These are different repos. I'm assuming 3 different repos, yes. And we can see different parts of CodeRabbit in action. So awesome. As soon as we receive the pull request event,
just one second, sorry, Hasit. Yes. Zach, do you mind getting the Hasit screen up on the stage for us? Our behind the scenes legend Zach is still with us this year. We're not letting him out of the cave just yet. Okay, go ahead, Hasit. Thanks so much, Zach.
I hope everyone can see the screen. So the first thing that we do when we receive the event is we start summarizing the pull request. This is same across all Git platforms. This is a high-level summary of what changed in the pull request. This is where we also use Nemotron models, which is a very exciting news we recently announced at CES on the big stage. So we use the Nemotron models to summarize your code. There is an internal object that gets created when we do this, and that is passed around in every step of the review. The next big thing that I'd like to show that CodeRabbit does is writes a walkthrough, this is the first comment that you see on your pull request. This is more of a technical summary. So what changed and what files changed and what changed in those files, right? So think about this as a map of things that the next human eyes will look at, and what is important in this pull request. If it deems it worthy, it can even build a nice sequence diagram for you. This is all Agentic. This is all generated automatically for you in your pull request. People find this super helpful. We even give you a rough estimate of how long this code will take to review. And there's a nice little feature that we added recently called pre-merge checks. So you can make sure that your things are all aligned before this piece of code is ready to merge. In here, there's a failure of doxing coverage. CodeRabbit is saying you're not meeting the 80% threshold. But it's also passing 2 checks, which is description and the title check. Now, this is the bread and butter of CodeRabbit. As soon as we are done summarizing your pull request and pulling context from various sources, which we'll talk in a bit, CodeRabbit is going to start leaving review comments on your pull request. So you see, first of all, the type of the issue and the severity of it, a little description of what the issue is, and a fix. If CodeRabbit can easily generate this, it will generate and show you the diff. It can also tell you if a tool was used to find this out, and it'll give you a little prompt. So if you use your favorite AI agent to write code, you can just copy paste this to your editor and have it fixed by your code generation tool. In this case, the author actually fixed it. They found the comment useful, and CodeRabbit acknowledged it. CodeRabbit even added a learning at the end, saying that in this, I haven't gone through this, but this is something internal to this repo. And what learnings are a way for us to remember things in the long term. So this is a knowledge base that we generate over time as you chat with the bot, as you tell the bot what is important to you and your team. CodeRabbit remembers these things, and it'll recall this thing next time it reviews a similar piece of code. So it improves over time, and the comments only get more and more relevant over time.
And is this so I know we're going to do intros in a second, but I just got a question popped up in my mind when you're showing us this. Is this like per repo learnings? Like, is this going to adapt to a repo? Is there also the equivalent for like a cross repo, like project memory? Like, explain to us a little bit about where this memory is important.
Yes, so that's a great question, because this is a very frequent ask from especially larger organizations, because if you're running one repo and you're a personal user, all that you care about is that repo. But when it comes to organizations, they worry about sharing things at the team level or the organization level. So we do have a config where you can set the learnings scope to be local or global. Local meaning it's just the repo, and global meaning it applies to the entire org.
There you go. Easy answer. Okay, Zach, thank you so much for bringing the screen up. We'll go back just to our faces and do some introductions. So what's up, everybody? My name is Chris. I work at NVIDIA as a product research engineer. Love running these streams. Always a blast. And I'm joined, of course, today by Hasit. Hasit, tell us a little bit about what you do at CodeRabbit. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. Well, first of all, Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Hasit. I'm one of the founding engineers at CodeRabbit. Joined it early. Now I'm leading the enterprise engineering team. That means just a fancy way of saying I work with large enterprises such as NVIDIA to enable how CodeRabbit works with them. There are lots of nuances that go into enabling CodeRabbit for large organizations. You folks have your own gateway for accessing different LM models. How do we authenticate into your system? How do we manage your users and such? And a lot of core products that are specifically useful for these large enterprises.
Incredible. And I mean, we've got like an intro slide set here. And anyone who's like hears the word slides and is like, I don't know, but these are nice. These are great, intro slides to help us all understand what's going on. So Hasit, take us through kind of the familiarize us a bit more with CodeRabbit. Now that we've seen how it works, which is dope, by the way. Let's see a little bit more details about what's really going on in CodeRabbit.
I've kept it short. Yes. Right. So I've kept it specifically short to just 3 slides. Don't want to bore you guys with slides. So we can go to the next slide and talk about some stats. CodeRabbit has been working very closely with NVIDIA. It is installed NVIDIA-wide. We are installed on close to 4,000 repos by now. We've performed 125,000 code reviews in a very short span of time. That just goes to tell you how wide the adoption is. 75,000 issues found and fixed by NVIDIAns all across different organizations inside of NVIDIA. That's super exciting. We can go to the next slide, talk about some larger impacts of CodeRabbit. Overall, CodeRabbit is the top AI app on GitHub and GitLab. It's a large integration. We are installed on close to 4 million repos. We are free for open source projects, so people can just install and have the best of CodeRabbit on your repos. So close to 150K open source projects currently use us, and they are some of the largest open source projects on GitHub. 45 million issues found and fixed out there. So that's a huge number. Every time I look at it, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
We are helping make code better.
That's nothing to scoff at. That's for sure. And I do just want to remind people that this is a live session that we're having here with Hasit. So please put any questions that you have in the chat. We're going to be more than happy to get to them. Love chatting with you guys. So just drop them in the whenever you have them, and we'll try to get through them all. Sorry about the Hasit. Continue.
No problem. Yes,
45 million is a big number.
It's a huge number. I love to see that. So let's go to the next page and talk about the general architecture. One of our sales leads calls it the marketecture. This is more like a marketing architecture. So on the left side, we have the clients. We integrate on 3 different surfaces. So we run reviews on your Git platforms natively. There is the extensions on different editors. And the last is the CLI surface. So you can actually run reviews in your CLI without leaving a development environment. As soon as we receive an event from one of these platforms, you see the central piece, the review agent right there. It now collects more information from different sources. And these are the different signals that I was talking about earlier. The review happens in a safe and secure sandbox environment. Every review gets its own sandbox. So it has limited access to the network. Every command that is run inside is sanitized and run in a safe environment. We also clone your repo so that we understand more than just the diff. We go way beyond just the diff of the changes. So that is the upper part of the diagram. The next step that happens is after collecting information from doing some web queries, we look at the integrations that you've enabled in CodeRabbit. So you can actually connect CodeRabbit to MCP servers if you have your own or other popular MCP servers out there. You can connect CodeRabbit to your ticketing system. So I understand that a lot of teams hold a lot of knowledge in Jira or Linear, right? So people write issues over there and then start working on it. So CodeRabbit uses that as a source of information to enrich its reviews. And CodeRabbit also maintains a long-term memory of the chats via learnings. We call them the knowledge base. And it's all on the bottom right side if people are looking for it. There is a configuration that you can put into CodeRabbit. So CodeRabbit is highly configurable. Every little knob can turn on things or change how the review happens in your pull request. We index pull requests to learn from older pull requests. You can even use coding guidelines. So with the advent of coding agents out there, every coding agent has their own little way of configuring it. So you can have a Claude MD file in your repo. CodeRabbit will just pick it up and use it as a guideline when it's reviewing your code as well. It's pretty much seamless. It's natural. We don't want you to write another standard of defining this. So we pick up every other agent's coding guidelines.
And that's pretty cool, right? So, I mean, we got a couple questions in the chat, and one of them that is really, I think, top of mind for a lot of people right now. You know, over the holidays, it feels like the internet kind of woke up to Claude Code, right? And tools like Codex and Cursor and Anti-Gravity and AMP and all of these tools, right? We're really seeing people explore during the holiday break automated coding systems, right? Using AI to write code. And great question to chat is what makes something like CodeRabbit different from something like Claude Code? Is this just for reviewing code, just in scare quotes here, or does it develop with you as well, right? So help me understand how these two pieces fit together. Like I've been using Claude Code a lot. Where is CodeRabbit helping me out?
Yes. So I come from a development background. I'm a software engineer at heart. I have seen the different waves come and go. This is a very exciting time for development. Over the weekend and the holidays, I've worked on a few personal projects as well. using Claude Code. I forced myself only to generate code using the different coding agents. But with that, you end up generating a lot more code. There was a rise in the number of lines of code and the number of pull requests being generated ever since coding agents came about. So you need someone to review them. You cannot obviously just merge this into the main branch and push it out to the world. That is when CodeRabbit steps in. CodeRabbit is different from these things because our core tenet is to insert CodeRabbit in a central location and have it go through that central pipeline so that every piece of code is reviewed. Every change is reviewed before it is merged in. There is also a bottleneck on seniors in a team. There's only so many people who can review code effectively, and they don't scale. At the end of the day, they're still humans. So tools like this, especially CodeRabbit, help you review your code. It gives you a great first pair of eyes. It tells you things that you need to worry about. It tells you things that you need to fix before you merge your code in. And you can iterate with these other tools like Claude or Codex. So you get the fixes, you get them fixed, and then you open a pull request or add a commit on top of your branch and go through the changes.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? It's a totally compatible experience, right? In fact, I mean, we were talking before the stream, and it's just like with the proliferation of AI generated code, you need the burden to review is so much higher, right? Like it is. You're not just reviewing 1 or 2 PRs now; you're reviewing 15, and so having this CodeRabbit sit in a loop here, I think, is something that's really interesting. But one thing that I also noticed while you were showing us the UI, which is just GitHub, of course, but the way that the kind of discussion is formatted is that it seems like it's really digestible for humans, right? So. Like it seems like it's still built with our eyes in mind, so that we can look at it, we can understand, rather than just being formatted in a way that's most pleasant for AI. One comment that I do want to just make sure we comment on from Dror. We're not AI. We're still humans. Hi, what's going on? Sorry about the lag issues you're experiencing, but we're still flesh and blood over here. Okay, we have a second question. I'm going to get to that one though after you kind of finish up this slide section. Yes. So
we paused. Yeah, sorry, no problem. So we paused at the place where we've collected all the context from external sources. So we use this context to first of all summarize your code, as we saw on the different PRs the examples that I showed you. This is where we use Nemotron. This is where we and currently Nemotron is only supported inside of NVIDIA's the self-hosted platform, but we are working with the team to have a larger impact of Nemotron models in other places as well. So we summarize your code. It generates an object that is very core to the rest of the review. So we pass that object around in all different places. So we review the code. There's a whole verification loop that goes in that understands if the response is correct, if it needs to iterate further. The chat feature also gets that context. So the example that I showed you where you can chat with the bot, you can say, "Hi, CodeRabbit AI, this doesn't sound right. Can we do it this other way?" And CodeRabbit is going to work with you to iterate over its solution. The pre-merge checks, the finishing touches. So CodeRabbit is now moving into what do you do once your pull request is ready to merge? Right before that. So we call it the finishing touches. People hate writing documentation. This is developers just do not want to write documentation. CodeRabbit can help you write doc strings or comments in the diff. At least it gives you a first step towards writing documentation. Then you can go in and change it as you want. So these are very interesting features that have come up by talking to large organizations such as yourself, and we've added these along the way.
Yeah, and something that really, I mean, stands out to me, right, is this idea that like we're seeing a lot of agents. So on this live stream, for context, Hassan, we've talked a lot about agents, right? And I think we're going to keep talking about agents. And in fact, we have a question about them that we'll get to in a moment. But the idea is that we're seeing a lot of really familiar patterns, even in CodeRabbit, right? They're obviously implemented in a specific to the use case kind of way. And, you know, things like memory look different between CodeRabbit and something like Claude Code or Codex, or you know, a LangGraph agent that someone produces to do some bespoke use case, right? But we have these kind of like fundamental building blocks of agents that are really really outlined in this as you put it, architecture diagram. So I love tying those back to those fundamental, like we have tools, we have memory, we have our brain in a loop with all of these things, right? Like it's definitely interesting. I'll let you move on to the rest of the slides, though.
Yeah, so that's a good point you bring up, Chris. So we actually have this internal LLM router. It's an intelligent LLM router inside the product. We wrote it before LLM routers were actually a thing, and these decide where to make these calls. If there is a verification required, if there is more context required, these things happen agentically. So as you see, the summarization part is done using a different model, and the other agentic pieces are done using other models, GPT, Anthropic Claude models. And these are dictated by our AI team that come up with evals. They decide which models to use for which task. So it's an exciting time. We've built these patterns based on real world, and different agents do it differently.
Incredible stuff. I think we're through the slides. Is that correct, Hassan? Yes. Let's go. Yes. We're gonna take a few questions, guys. Number one, what we're gonna take is, it's up to you how you answer this one, Hassan. But we have a question from Matt Prue. Can you share anything related to what's coming next from CodeRabbit? What's the future of code reviews? That second question, a lot more general, of course, than what's on the roadmap. But you know, whatever you've got cooking in the tank, you know, if you're able to let us know, or a sneak peek or a hint, or point us to a roadmap somewhere, that would be fantastic.
We do not have a public roadmap, but there is some exciting stuff coming. We are working with some large organizations and solving their specific issues. But on the roadmap specifically, we have new ways, sideways, new surfaces coming up. So as we are investing more into shifting slightly left as well. So not just the pull request, but how can you perform good quality reviews in your editor? How can you do reviews in your CLI? But taking a step further, how can you now generate plans for your changes, issue planning and such? So I don't want to spoil the fun by saying too much about it, but we will definitely announce it soon enough.
And I mean, the second half of the question is really interesting, though, right? So, what is the future of code reviews as you see it from a you know, a position of someone trying to really help make these easier, let us, you know, accomplish more of them per unit time? Like, we know that we're going to live in a future that has a lot of code gen from AI assistants, right? And so it feels a little bit from the outside, not being in CodeRabbit, right? It feels a little bit like it's almost like an arms race between the code gen and how fast can we, and how high quality can we review the code gen, right? Yes. So what is the future as you see it?
Well, future of code reviews is interesting so far that we see. Code reviews are not going anywhere, because at the end of the day, code has an impact on the business. So you would want to always review the change that you're making. The way it is reviewed might differ, and it might change over a period of time. As we gain more confidence in the changes that are generated by these agents, we will have maybe a different way of reviewing them. But the review aspect would remain. And as I said, we want to make reviews omnipresent. You can do reviews everywhere, and do it earlier before opening up a request. If people are not confident to open up a request, and we blast it publicly by the entire org, or do it openly, and then you can have good quality feedback. The other point to it is, how do we close the loop? So we give you a lot of suggestions of changes, but how can you automatically take that into, for example, your Claude or your Codex agent, and have these agents fix these issues and push the commits up automatically? So this completion of this loop is very interesting. And the future of it is going to be Agentic.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like a good future to me, right?
Yes.
And I think you made a really interesting point, which is, this idea that we do have to evolve the way that we're thinking about reviews, but we still have to review, right? I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's code gets reviewed by someone. If it's not by a senior, then it's by the users. But people are always going to be reviewing your code directly or indirectly. And how can these services help us get there faster is such an interesting and incredible space. There's two questions I'm going to get to very quickly that are more Team Green. So number one from LinkedIn user, when are we getting the NVIDIA Nemotron CLI? You can use Nemotron models with services like OpenCode, which is an open source version of Claude code produced by Dex. Excellent tool. You can plug those models straight in. You know what? A lot of companies are doing this really well. I think we're probably, for the most part, just going to let them continue to do it really well. The second question, more Team Green specific, from Angel Romero. Can I test it on DGX Spark? This is an interesting question because you can write code on DGX Spark, and that code needs to be reviewed. And so in the sense that you could write code on DGX Spark that is then reviewed, the answer is definitely yes. Anything, is there a way for me to just run CodeRabbit on my device? And if so, can I run it on my Spark?
Well, technically you can, but you need to be an organization of at least 500 for us to.
So the answer is technically yes.
That's exactly how NVIDIA runs CodeRabbit right now internally. CodeRabbit is set up as an on-premise deployment. It is completely within the NVIDIA infrastructure, NVIDIA network. And we also have the SaaS offering. So a lot of the initial stats that I showed you about 4 million repos and 150K OSS projects, all of them are connected to our SaaS platform.
Yeah, so you can test it as in you can write code on DGX Spark and you can have it reviewed by CodeRabbit. But it's not going to be running on the Spark unless you have an organization of over 500 is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Thank you, Asin, for that's great information. We have a bit of a broad question that I think I do want to get to, but we're gonna take a pit stop at Veronica Horgieva's. So sorry if I really messed up your last name there, but Veronica's question, when should we not rely solely on AI for code reviews and still require human review? This is a question that I see all the time, right? When do we still need these meat suits with these eyes that are connected to these little biological computers, right? When do we still need to sit in the loop versus just getting AI to do it?
Right. So we're getting close to it where you can build a lot of confidence in the reviews by a code review tool. But the reality is the intent behind a change is hard to understand by an external tool. the business impact, or something that is changed specifically for a specific reason that is that might not be explainable in a Jira ticket or a linear ticket, right? So that is where you still need seniors in the team. That is why you need your peers to still review your code, because they understand the business impact of your changes. AI reviewers such as CodeRabbit can do a great first pass of review of your changes. It can actually look at not just the diff, but different parts of your code to tell you that, hey, maybe this pattern you can change here. This seems to be an issue. For example, regex patterns are notorious. Humans, I've not met another fellow programmer that is very good at regex patterns, right? Like people do miss things in patterns, and sometimes that introduces vulnerabilities. So a tool like CodeRabbit can easily catch that. That is where you need CodeRabbit to review things.
And one of the things that we saw in the actual demo that you gave us, right, is that like a human went in and made the fix. Like, yes. Whether or not that human was assisted by AI is a separate question, right? But exactly. The idea is that it's humans all the way down with CodeRabbit. I mean, it's being reviewed by CodeRabbit and AI, but there's a human that needs to look at the review and then needs to affect change in order to fix the review. And I think that's something that to Quay Butter's point, which is saying, I teach my students that they should still learn the basics of coding. I mean, true, right? Like we still need 100%. People that, as Hasid, you just outlined, that understand the reality and the business context of these changes and who understand the technical implementation. So really, really excellent insight from you on we do need the human beings to stay in the loop to help most effectively take advantage of those AI tools. I'm so sorry, Q Butter. My apologies. We have another question from Igor Alevsky. How easy is it to tune CodeRabbit to match a team's existing review standards across multiple repos? We heard you talk about things like it has an awareness of CloudMD, it has an awareness of different standards that you've set up through various markdown files. And we also heard, of course, that it's going to learn over time. But how easy is that process for like me, someone with a bunch of different repositories that needs these things to be reviewed in a standardized, uniform way?
Yeah. So we do this. In a few ways, and I'll list all these ways out. Right. So first of all, we have a config layer that is standard across all layers. So we allow you to configure at the repo level or at the org level, or you can even write a central config file that exists in your organization that applies to every repo. So your changes actually go in, your CodeRabbit config changes go in as code in your repo. What this means is now, so on top of that, we also have an inheritance feature, which was recently added. So to now make my point slightly more clear, at any point of time, when you make these changes, you can inherit these changes at the level under it. So if you had standards that are common across the organization, you can actually write it at a central level and have it inherited in every repo. Now, what do you inherit? There are a few things. There is path instructions, which is the most easy way to provide instructions by paths. So for example, /src/ all Java files in your project, you have a set of instructions for it. You can write it in the config. The second way, as I already showed you, is the coding guidelines. So if you have a coding guidelines file, like for example, CloudMD or Copilot instructions or so many of those around, agents.md, we automatically pick it up and we apply it during the review process. And the third way we do this is using the global learnings that I mentioned. So in a repo, when you talk to the bot, you tell it to remember something, it is going to remember it and recall it next time it's reviewing that piece of code. And you can set the scope to global so that it applies everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's these kinds of things that I think for people learning about these tools really help outline like the amount of effort that goes into building them, right? In order for us to have relatively easy interaction or to do this thing that Igor is asking now fairly straightforwardly. If it sounds like my apartment is under siege, by the way, it's because above me, I believe they might be tunneling to another world, and so excuse the noise there. We have another question from Saren. Can you go into a little bit more detail on the security part? Because you talked about there is like this idea of on-prem, right? So we can just run it on-prem if you have an organization of 500 or more. But otherwise, like what how are you guys thinking about security? This is a very standard question. Whenever we talk about agents and LLMs, right? How are we thinking about security?
Yes. So yes, as Chris mentioned, this is a very common question we get asked by enterprises and companies of actually all sizes, because when we do review the code, we do also clone your code because we need to understand more than just the diff. So how do we handle it? We handle it in a few interesting ways. First of all, every clone happens in a sandbox environment. A sandbox environment is brought up specifically for the purpose of this review. It has limited network access, and every command that is run inside the sandbox environment is sanitized by us. So there is no rogue commands being run in there. The second part is we save no code. Nothing is actually stored of your code on our side. The only things that we store, as I mentioned earlier, is the learnings. So these are derived natural language sentences from the chats that you perform and the way you talk to CodeRabbit. That's the knowledge-based part of it. So overall, the security impact is minimal because we don't actually store any of your code, and you get high-quality reviews every single time. There is a trade-off. Yes, there's of course there's a trade-off because now this adds a little bit of time because we have to build the entire sandbox environment every single time. But that is a trade-off we are willing to take because we can give you high-quality reviews every single time in a secure manner.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing. I mean, like these are decisions we have to be making, right?
Yes.
Is it better for it to be a little bit slower but a lot more safer? 100% yes, right? Yes. I mean, this is the future that we're in, and I think it's really important that people understand what CodeRabbit thinks about security. We're gonna go to another question. Now, this is a bit of a doozy, so I think we're gonna go ahead and I think we're probably gonna get your last few questions in, guys. Is what I'm saying, okay? Because this one's a bit of a doozy. We're just gonna go ahead and launch it to you, Hasit. This comes from LinkedIn user, descriptive name. What's the real limit of AI agents today? This is a big question, but you guys work with them, right? All the time. So for you, what is the real limit of AI agents today?
The real limit is, again, sorry if I'm repeating myself, but it is just the intent behind the change. That is why there are new standards coming up where you need to clearly define what changes you need to make. That is why terms like context engineering and prompt engineering have come up over the period of time. The real limits are that they can generate a lot of code. They can generate a lot of code from past experiences and past by looking at other projects. But fitting it into your project is the real hard problem. How do you make it such that it adheres to your standards? It solves the problem that you actually wanted to solve. It can solve it in a manner A, but what if you wanted the manner B? Right. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of teams have a lot of tribal knowledge. People have built that over a period of time. There are certain ways of doing things in an organization or a team. How can you make your agents work in these environments? That is interesting. So that is why CodeRabbit has these configurability. There's so many config options where you can make CodeRabbit truly a part of your team. It can be a member of your team.
And it's one of these things that if you've used agents before in any capacity, right, you'll understand just intimately. I think intent is the big word of 2026, right? How do we get agents to understand intent? As a human, you and I, if I ask you to do something, or you ask me to do something, if I'm like, but what does he mean really, right? I'm gonna have that instinct to. So what do you mean really, right? And to kind of fight through the ambiguity with questions and things like that. We see agents are starting to get better at that kind of thing, but it's really feels like we're in the early days. So excellent insights. We're going to wrap up with a couple final questions here. Number one, I think you talked a tiny bit about this, but from LinkedIn user, will it auto-correct the code as well? That would be awesome if it could fix the code.
So yes, CodeRabbit has a deterministic side to it as well. On top of using AI models, LLM models, we have close to 40 or so open source tools that we've integrated in the product. Just to give you an example, we use Rough as a static analyzer and a linter for code, for Python code. And we use such different analysis tools to review your code, to find issues, and to give you fixes for them as well. So in the example that I showed you, that issue was actually found by Rough. CodeRabbit found the issue, and tools like that are notorious for being very cryptic. A lot of static analyzers and linters, the outputs of these tools are very cryptic. So it helps when CodeRabbit analyzes the output and gives you a fix, which is a one-click fix. So yes, it can help you fix your code, autocorrect your code.
Yes, and of course, if you wanted to, I believe it provides you a prompt that you can copy and paste into your favorite code agent that can then help you fix the code. So CodeRabbit's really covering all bases. Even if you love AI generated code, they're still looking out for you, which is dope.
Yes.
A question from Eric Osiak. Very sorry if I've misplaced the space there. How good are these agents work on projects for which little to no code exists on the internet? Now, I don't want to do a plug, but let me do a small plug. We have an upcoming live stream that's going to talk about how you can actually use fine-tuning and synthetic data generation, specifically reinforcement learning, to get tools to be better at things that don't exist broadly on the internet. But how good is something like CodeRabbit on a code base that doesn't have kind of well-represented, knowledge base on the old interwebs?
Yes. So we do this by looking at the rest of your code as well. So as I know I've mentioned this before, but we don't just look at the diff. We actually have knowledge of the rest of the code base as well. So we understand from the different patterns that you've used across your code base how to review this piece of code. And also we rely on sources provided by you. So you can connect your ticketing systems, your MCP servers, where knowledge could exist. In the future, we want to open up more integration. So for example, a lot of teams hold knowledge on docs. How can we integrate with docs that are internal to your teams, gather context from it, and then use it in the review?
And this is something that I saw on your knowledge base diagram, on the architecture diagram, right? If I'm a company that's kind of writing not like an SOLang or something, but in some kind of more obscure, more specific to me language, right? I probably have docs for my internal users, and I can almost certainly give CodeRabbit access to those to help it understand better, even if it's not well represented outside of the org. And you can do this in a way that is Again, if you have over 500 people on-prem, right? So you can give it access to those internal knowledge bases. We're going to do one more question. Hasan, thank you so much for all of your time today, and thanks for staying a little bit of extra.
Yes.
I appreciate it, and I really hope the people tune in and appreciate it. Last one. This is for you guys to do a little bit of a nice thing, I think, because I understand the answer to this. How do we pay for CodeRabbit? What's the pricing look like? And what if I'm like an open source dev and I need review help? I need extra firepower for reviews, but I just don't. Maybe I'm not yet strapped with cash. Maybe I haven't taken off yet. What does it look like for CodeRabbit?
So yeah, first of all, CodeRabbit has always been free and will be free for open source projects. If you have a public project on GitHub, you will get all the pro tier features for free. In fact, CodeRabbit is installed on some of the largest open source projects out there on GitHub right now. So that is exciting. Always, we want to support open source projects. And how do you pay? So if you do choose to pay us, there is 3 simple plans. We have the Lite plan, the Pro plan, and the Enterprise plan. The pricing of it is on our website. You can definitely go in there. We do have a 2-week free trial, so you can use CodeRabbit with all the pro features for 2 weeks and make a call for yourself.
Incredible. Okay, Hasan, thank you so much for your time and expertise, guys. It's our first one of the year. We're so excited to be back. We've got another 51 coming ahead. Same things as always. We're gonna go through some slides here, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys know how you can get in touch with us after the live stream. If you still have pressing questions for Hasan or about Nemotron generally, you can always reach out, and we'll make sure to forward those to the CodeRabbit team, who are excellent. The knowledge they're dropping all over the place has just been incredible. Okay, so we'll get the final slides up to wrap us and take us home. And there you go. So first things first, if you're hearing us talk about agents, and you're like, what the heck are this agent thing, man? We have some ways to get started to our developer.nvidia.com/topic/AI/how to build an AI agent. So that's going to take you from soup to nuts on how you can think about agents, what the core components are. They're not going to be as complicated as CodeRabbit, okay, but it's going to help you build some intuition. We'll go to the next slide. On this slide, we're going to talk about how you can get in touch with us outside of the live stream, which is through Discord, our NVIDIA developer Discord. You can always reach me at #Nemotron-models channel. I'm in there 24/7. I don't sleep. You can ask any questions. I'll make sure they get to whoever they need to go to. That'll be great. Next slide, please. We have as well the nemotron.ideas.nvidia.com portal. This is where you can submit ideas for the Nemotron series of models. So if you think that our models need to be better at XYZ, or you are really missing this feature from our models, please tell us about it. Our product teams look at this and we take it very seriously. This is not like a meme or a joke. We want to build these models with the developer community. So please let us know your ideas. Next slide, please. You can also email us at community@nvidia.com. Our behind the scenes legend, Zach, is forced to read every email. He is 24/7 reading those emails. We don't let him sleep. We don't let him go anywhere. All he does is sit in a dark cave and read those emails. If you've seen Zach before, you know that he lives in a dark cave. Okay, and I believe we don't have a slide for this, but I do want to talk about it, which is our Nemotron Reasoning Challenge. We do have a slide for it. Let's go. Okay, so we have an upcoming Nemotron Reasoning Challenge. This is going to be a competition, and it's all about how to make the best reasoning model. So we're going to give you a model. We're going to ask you to make it even better, able to reason even more effectively. This is going to be a challenge. I heard there's cash money as prizes. Let's go. So this is a for realsy challenge. More details are going to be available. Please keep track of it on that Luma page, which you can find at the QR code. Finally, last but not leastly, you can join us next week at the same time, 11 a.m. PT, Tuesday. We're going to be joined by Crew AI. Crew AI, they talk a lot about agents. So if you're excited about the agent conversation, you want to keep it rolling, join us next Tuesday. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thank you so much, Hasan, for sharing all of your knowledge with us today. And huge thanks to CodeRabbit. It's not a joke. It's used all throughout the company. It's in all of our repos. Great tool. It was awesome to see you guys on the big stage with the big man. And we will talk again, I'm sure. Happy 2026, everybody. Let's go. All right. And now we'll wait.
Thank you.